Hansel and Gretel by Katrina, Kevin, and Raphael. Once upon a time, at the edge of a forest, there lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and 2 children. They were very poor, and one day they had nothing but a loaf of bread left. That evening, the wife told the husband that something had to be done. She said, "Early in the morning, we must take the children into the forest and leave them there with a piece of bread and a fire." The husband could not believe what his wife had said, but after hours of persuasion, he finally agreed. The children heard all that their mother had said, and Gretel began to cry. Hansel told his sister that everything would turn out fine in the end. He thought about what he should do, and then quietly went outside. Hansel carefully gathered white pebbles and stuffed them into his jacket pockets. Then he went inside to comfort his sister until they fell asleep. Early the next morning, the parents told the children that they needed to collect firewood. They gave them each a piece of bread and went on their way. Along the way, Hansel would turn around and drop the pebbles that he collected the night before. After a while, his mother asked what he was doing, and he told her, "I am waving goodbye to my cat that is on the chimney." They walked for a long time, until they were in a part of the forest that was unfamiliar. The father made a fire while the mother said, "Rest here for a while. Your father and I are going off to collect firewood, but we shall return for you later." The children sat by the fire and ate their bread. Hours passed, but still their parents did not come back. Once it was very late in the night, Hansel told his sister to follow him, for "When I turned around this morning, I was not waving to my cat, but dropping stones so we could find our way home." The children followed the pebbles until morning when they reached their home. Their father was overjoyed to see them, but their mother was disappointed. Not long after, the mother again told the father that they needed to try again, and this time leave them further in the woods to be sure that they can never return. Hansel and Gretel again heard this, and Hansel tried to go out and collect the pebbles. However, this time, the door was bolted shut. Early the next morning, they again got a piece of bread and went into the forest. Just as last time, Hansel turned around and dropped something, and again his mother asked what he was doing. Hansel said, "I am waving goodbye to my pigeon," and they kept going. This time, they went so far into the woods that they could barely see because it was so dark. Again, the mother said, "Stay here, and don't eat your bread until later. Your father and I are going to collect firewood, but we will be let back later." Hours passed, but they did not come back. Hansel told Gretel that, "When I turned around, I dropped crumbs of my bread so we could follow them home." Gretel shared her bread with him, and they set off on their way home. Before long, Hansel and Gretel realized that the crumbs had been eaten by the birds, and they were lost. They walked and walked, but only became more and more lost. They walked for hours with nothing to eat. Finally, they stopped to rest and fell asleep. Once they awoke, they saw a little house. When they came closer to the house, they realized it was made of candy. They ran to the house and began to eat it. Hansel ate the roof, and Gretel pushed out the windows. After eating for a few moments, they heard a small, shrill voice. It said, "Nibble, nibble, nubble. Who gnaws against my house to rubble?" This scared the children so much that they dropped their sweets and froze. Just then, an old woman came out of the house. When she saw the children, she said, "Oh, you poor little ones, come inside. I have much more to eat inside my house. I will take care of you little morsels." She led them in the house and fed them to their heart's content. Then she sent them to bed and prepared for the next morning. The next morning, the old woman took Hansel outside and locked him in a cage. The woman went back inside and yelled at Gretel, saying, "Get up, you lazy girl. Go out and draw the water. Then get to work and make something good to eat. Your brother is in the stall over there. First we are going to fatten him up. Then I will cook him and I will eat him." Gretel was terrified. Every day she brought water and food to Hansel, but she got nothing but bread and water. Every day the woman would go out and tell Hansel to stick out his finger and let her feel because her eyesight was not very good. Instead of his finger, Hansel would stick out a chicken bone so the woman would believe he was not getting fat. 4 weeks passed. The woman finally said, "Tomorrow, whether he be fat or not, I will cook and eat him." Early the next morning, the woman and Gretel prepared for dinner. The woman asked Gretel to look into the oven and see if the bread is done. Gretel, however, saw that the woman was really planning and said, "I am not sure how. Could you please show me?" The woman was annoyed, but agreed. And once the woman was in the oven, Gretel shut the door and locked it. The woman screamed, but Gretel would not open the door. She then ran to her brother and let him out. She told Hansel what she had done, and they rejoiced. They were now free. One last time they went into the candy house. They found treasures of gold, silver, and diamonds. They collected as much as they could carry and set off on their journey home. Eventually they found the path that led to their home and they ran to it. When they got there, they found their father with open arms. They showed him the treasure and were never poor again. They lived happily ever after. As for their mother, their father had sent her away, and she was never, ever heard from again.